Okay, here we are at lineup. I'm towards the back end because I went to the 35C class, which is just shy of being the very end. Everybody in front of me is all B's and better. Uh, Unfortunately, something happened, so I did not get the video of the launch. Um, but it was still pretty slick. Like here, they actually have professional photographers taking people as you're doing your laps. I only could get one video because I only completed 1.5 laps, which that 1.5 laps ended up actually taking 2 hours. So here I got the camera back up and going again, and we're zipping through. I think at this point, I've been probably 30 minutes into racing, so we're still on the single track stuff. Uh, Nothing super cool happening, just zipping through some tight tree stuff, kind of bouncing back and forth with the guy that was just in front of me. Him and I think, passed each other like 6 times, just back and forth. There's like 6 of these that I think we ended up crossing. This was the first one I actually came up on and seen a guy end up in the creek. Those ramps do get really slippery. Okay, now we're finally get out of the tight trees. Then we get our way up onto kind of an open path finally, which I was feeling good. I was able to actually get a little bit more air, move a little bit more, and of course, at this point, I was just feeling so fatigued. And this is when I get our first crash hit. Just these races, they go so long, your arms are just dead if you're not prepared. And I think that's what happened here is I just washed out on my corner, went off course and right up onto this log. And you think you're tired just running the race. Having to pick these bikes up after a crash when you've just been non-stopping like that, it is horrid. I had to take a good breather for a minute before I could get back on just because of the amount of energy sapped. So we're back up and going, still running through. Just start getting into the tight stuff again, got off the open stuff, and that fatigue is still wearing me. You already see it. It's harder just to stay up, flipping logs and such. Of course, since they've got us out here racing A, B, and C all together, they're going to have guys faster than others out on top of each other. So, yeah, but obviously we got to be courteous, pull over, let the guys go around, or at least move off to the side so they can get around you. Um, which it was happening to me left and right, especially starting in the very back. These guys probably are running 4 laps to my 1.5. See here, I nicked a tree. You can see arms are just toast. Threw me right off track. I was able to jump right back on and keep moving. But that's just keeps working our way down. So once we get back up here towards the front, we're gonna actually be like over crossing the finish line type area. This is where you actually have to get up and actually look like you know what you're doing a little bit, since they had cameras up taking photos. Plus, you're actually driving past people watching, so of course you want to kind of look half-assed like you know what you're doing. Then right here, this is actually a bypass. I went around. I wasn't jumping that creek. Uh, I seen later on a couple of other guys that had gone through it, and it was no joke. It would have just killed me trying to cross that, getting stuck, and having to muscle the bike out. Speaking of which, here's Adam. He did try to jump the creek and lost a lot of time. Actually, he lost 7th place because of it. This guy here was actually super cool and like helping people get out and directing them down better paths to try and jump it with. And here we finally made it to the finish line. This is where they're checking times and keeping track of who we were placing. It took me forever to get here. It felt like it. The track was a 9 mile loop, and I think I spent all of an hour just making my first lap. Uh, Thank goodness I made it past it with no problems. But I don't even think I was 2 minutes past that mapping point, and I crashed. crashed again. I don't even remember why. I was probably just tired and just lost it. At this point, I had to pull off and take another quick breather. After having to pick the bike back up again, I was just dying. Uh, but I stopped at this corner. I let a couple of these guys go by and try and catch my breath. And this little dude, he launched that poor little bike. Luckily, there was the officials here to help him get up and going again. But this was just kind of a good showing of how these guys are out riding. But even though it's a race, some of them that aren't taking it super serious still stop, make sure that everybody's good. There's people on the track watching us the whole time, helping us out. But I just thought that was a cool little thing to keep in. Plus, it was funny. Okay, so here we're coming up on the obstacle course, which is right there on the left. I'm taking the bypass because the course was definitely on my skill set. It was uh, some large objects that you had to try and climb over or jump around, and I wasn't trying it. Um, so the bypass is where I went, which is super tight. Like I had to come to a dead stop at least a couple of those trees to get through them, and it got really, really tense for me. My arms were just jello. They didn't want to even turn anymore. I was really starting to struggle. And this was my last like real bad crash, I guess. This one actually hurt a little bit. I bounced off that tree. Uh, Luckily, I was riding with full gear, but that one took some wind out. It wasn't too much longer after this that I ended up pulling off. I think I made it maybe 2 more miles before I ended up just calling it quits on the first access road that I came up on, and headed up to the front. Let's see. They finished the race, I think maybe 20 minutes after I pulled off, which is kind of sad. I didn't realize it was going to end that soon, or I'd have just stuck it out and finished just to say that I actually finished it. But I'm not that mad that I pulled off early. It was more of I just didn't want to be a problem with others. But all in all, it was great. I loved it. Definitely gonna do it again. But I need to probably prepare more besides just jumping on a bike after the winter and going.